Boom. Okay, we are recording. So, you want to start with the first topic?
Yeah, what was it
The
again?
first thing written down is incels.
Yeah. So we were talking about isolation.
Alienation.
Alienation,
Yeah.
isolation. Very, very similar, very, very related concepts. And
I think it's the cause of the big incel craze going on nowadays. Because I've felt alienated. I felt like in that mindset where you are different from everyone. You are your own thing, and you are in your own little world, and also you are disgusting to others. Like being so afraid to show who you really are, and like that fear and that trauma, it drives a lot of like dark triad behaviors.
And really pushes you further and further away from the rest of society.
Yeah, exactly. Because society is its own thing. It's not. It can never be bad. It's just whatever happened to evolve out of everyone's ideas, put together. And
Yeah, we just like self-organized, and things just worked out, just like entropy in
Right.
the universe.
Right. Yeah. So we also have written down psychedelics and their use for overcoming alienation. I feel like psychedelics are like reverse abusing yourself. Like, you've never experienced sex before, but
Nope, I haven't.
you're gonna love that shit. Like, when you're in that mindset, when you truly feel that bliss, that zen between everything and also encompassing everything at once, it's like you can really see how your parents fucked up, and two, how you fucked up with treating yourself right. It's just like, I don't know, there's so much love there to give yourself.
It sounds amazing. Like I can feel like my mandibles like sort of spreading apart.
Your little smile muscles.
Yeah. And like, that feeling of like hot air coming from like your stomach and like filling you up with energy.
Yeah.
As I think about the whole psychedelics thing, it's really exciting to me.
Yeah, that's the thing with psychedelics is they can make you have increased energy or bring you down. It's really what you decide to do with it, I've found. Because with bipolar, you have to... I have so much practice with meditation. I'm basically meditating constantly all day with, like, pulling myself away from mania and depression and, like, staying focused at my peaceful center. And finding it again and again, and just always rebuilding myself ground up like a pyramid. Every time I do psychedelics, I build myself ground up, and those symbols are important. Pyramids, like.
But doesn't that mean you also destroy yourself if you're needing to rebuild yourself?
Hinduism talks about this, the concept of the need for destruction for things to evolve and for the beauty to show through. And I think that's very true to me personally. Every time I go into a psychosis, I'm a better person after, because I'm more of myself. I have to teach myself how to be myself again, if that makes sense. A psychosis is like a state of a disorganized thought, and everything is overly significant. Basically, that's how I describe it.
It's like exaggerated, it's like looking through have you ever broken a mirror?
It's like looking at a broken mirror, or one of those carnival mirrors. That's
where
what
it like stretches you out.
Yeah, that's exactly what psychosis is like. And I don't know if it's just my OCD that does it, but every single time I get to that place, it's because of psychedelics. Usually, I've only gotten to that place one time, not from psychedelics, and
was it through meditation?
No, that was my first bad manic episode.
Oh.
So I didn't intend to go to that place, and I wasn't ready for it. but yeah, I lost my train of thought.
You were talking about
the when you're in that place from psychedelics and you go with that intention and knowing truly how you will handle that and knowing truly what it will mean to you, you get this sense of clarity and you're able to focus, and what I do is build myself ground up. Everything that I was thinking of at the time, everything significant in my life that made me who I am and who I want to be, reincorporate that into your practices. And when you feel yourself becoming psychotic again, pull yourself back. This concept is with meditation as well. You feel yourself becoming not mindful, pull yourself back, because if you become, we can call it lazy. I don't really like that word, but if you become lazy, you are evolving still. You have to evolve. That's one of the laws of the universe. But you're evolving backwards. You're making yourself sick again. That's why things rot. Like, you leave an orange alone.
On the table.
Yeah, it rots. Of course, an orange is a bad analogy because it's the fruit of the tree. It's not the actual tree. It's not living. But
right, but the tree eventually rots. It loses its leaves.
You need to keep that focus and that steady rhythm. Well, when you get into the rhythm, that's when you become yourself again. That's when you're out of the psychosis, when you feel the rhythm.
You need to get into the zone. You need to get into the stream.
Athletes call it the zone. But that's how you get back. That's how I get back into it when I'm in a psychosis. Just use my OCD to raise myself again, basically.
So are we inhibiting like a flow state, essentially?
Yeah. Taoism is big on that.
That's really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Did you know the flow state actually increases creativity by like 700%?
Yeah. I cannot make anything creative when I'm not in my zone. When I'm not meditating.
Yeah, that's insane, man.
Yeah.
So much.
There's so much, like, I don't know if neuroplasticity is the word, but that feels like it's the right word.
There's definitely like increased pattern recognition. And
very increased IQ, very much so.
You're moving a lot faster.
Yeah. Not only that, you have that confidence of everything is okay as it is, and you can just have that aggression and that speed with whatever you're trying to accomplish, and it's amazing.
You know, as an avid gamer, as you can probably relate to.
Yeah.
You know, I notice myself in the zone a lot.
Yeah.
And you just sort of like, all of your mental
when
resources
it feels right.
get like tunneled into the game.
Yeah.
So like
you're optimized.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't devote those resources to anything else.
Yeah. The fundamentals are there. Your intentions are there.
Your mind just like flows through the river to that end point, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing. Amazing.
Amazing. Very amazing.
Okay, what else do we have written down here? We're talking about the non-binary identity in relation to duality.
Oh, yeah.
We'll go ahead and introduce that.
So, being non-binary is...
If anyone doesn't know what non-binary is, it's just like...
it's like
you go ahead and explain.
It's not really like... It's not identifying as one gender or the other. You're non-binary. You're not in the binary, right?
Yeah. I think this is... sorry if I'm talking over you, but this is something I'm extremely passionate about. Gender abolition is like one of the cornerstones to what I believe is truly dualist and one with all.
Right. I can kind of see how you get there, because once you break apart this man woman sort of duality, you and you enable ultimate freedom, you sort of you turn the like river into the ocean, and like everything can just be at that point. And we forget about the rules, we forget about the expectations, and we just be ourselves, and we move closer to this point
Yeah.
where we can reach the flow state.
I said duality instead of non-duality.
Well,
fuck you. Someone commented. Please, hurt me.
Yeah.
Okay, what were you saying?
Like once you like unlock ultimate freedom, we stop worrying about gender roles. We stop creating these expectations on people, which is, I think, is a larger problem, a broader problem with society. It's like our need to obsessively categorize like all of the things.
Yeah, it just is
about other people.
Yeah, it just is, and that's why it's so important to repeat that, because and practice your fundamentals and meditate all day. Like I do it because I have to, but like do it. Like having that intention is so helpful for understanding other people, and you have no idea what you can learn from people you completely write off. Like operating from the mindset of there is something I can learn from this always is very valuable. Now, you might waste your time more than you did, but you're gonna learn way more.
Oh yeah, you need to have your opinions and your ideas and your perception of what the world is and should be challenged. You need to understand that the world is a lot grayer than you think it is.
Yeah.
Even if it's a dark gray, it's still a gray.
And not only challenged, but like if you have something that's reasonably like fundamental to life, practice it. Like I don't know, I just keep going over this. I'm obsessed with fundamentals.
The fundamental.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with doing things fundamentally. It's an OCD thing for sure, but
can you go into maybe more detail on like what those fundamentals are?
They're definitely personal to you, but I have a bunch of mine written down.
Yeah.
I have to. So one of mine is find peace with what is. That's obvious, but most people don't do it every day. They don't look and they don't feel themselves go straying from where they need to be and pull themselves back to the peace. I got that through just pure meditation and rituals. And have a knowledge of yourself at all times. That's one of my mantras. Really know your limits and your abilities and test them out. You can't know them until you test them out. And like the pyramid of needs talks about this too. Like knowing what is fulfilling to you, knowing how to reach the top of the pyramid and reach that state. Get as close to that state as you can on a daily basis, that state of bliss and zen.
There's an important implication I think I want to touch on there. In regards to like knowing yourself and gaining more knowledge and testing your limits, you have to have an intention.
Yeah.
That's sort of the implication I saw there being pulled from that.
Yeah, you do
like
need
having
to have
a goal.
an intention. Yes, you always have to have a goal, always. And what do I want with an infinity symbol? That's a personal one for me. Some people might not have to do that one as much as a fundamental, but for me it's extremely important. I have identity disturbance from borderline personality disorder. It causes me to think I want crazy shit. Like I had convinced myself I was a serial killer at one time, and like finding out what's right and like testing out ideas in your head. What do you truly want? Like what feels close to that zen state if you were to get it. Battle meditation. That's another one personal to me. I came up with that while I was in the psych ward for the first time. Basically just like you feel like you need to fight, like when you're super manic especially, and you feel like you need to like fucking fight, do something, I don't know, keep going. Don't. You're in the battle, but you're not actually being hurt. You must meditate and find the peace. Repeat until I feel fulfilled. That's another mantra. That's an OCD thing. Just I like to get things right, and I like using my OCD to as a tool for life. And I like to master it. I like knowing that it doesn't control me.
Interestingly enough, that's another sort of like one of those gray areas you see. Like most people would perceive OCD as like a bad thing. Yeah,
the gray area is the area that everything is a gray area.
Yeah, we're seeing that with the OCD being used as like, okay, this thing is bad in some ways, but also I can use this to my advantage in other ways. So like you have both of these colors. That's where knowing yourself
comes in too. Let's see the fundamentals it all builds up.
Right.
Yeah.
You need to notice the good and the bad.
Yeah. And the gray.
Mm-hmm.
Focus, that's a big one. I used to just never care about genuinely applying myself and putting all of my focus into something. Meditating was the first thing that I did that with, and it got what I wanted. So look for patterns. That's one I use to keep quick with stuff. Focus on fundamentals. That's I talk about that all the time. Experience. You always should have an openness to experience, not complete openness, because obviously you don't want to invite yourself into like a serial killer house and get stabbed and have your guts fed to you or whatever. But you need to be open to experience.
Just imagine
just
being
pain
fed your
in
own
general.
stomach.
Being fed your own stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
like
about that show
from
all the time.
from the like the large
I've been thinking
intestine.
about this shit since I was 8 years old.
That's freaking awesome.
That's one of my obsessive thoughts.
Eating your own guts.
Yeah. Oh.
That's great.
It's beautifully poetic, isn't it? Yeah.
The snake eating itself, except like your body tubing is the snake and it's just eating itself.
Yeah. Also, respect ignorance is a big mantra of mine. I don't know why, but
it's a good mantra.
Yeah.
It's a good mantra. Like, ignorance is like the first step to intelligence. If you like define yourself as knowing, like
you've already lost.
You've already lost because you can't expand that field, that very limited field.
Yeah, that's the antithesis of intelligence, but not of wisdom. Wisdom is truly knowing and knowing what you do know and how to apply it, and how it fits in with what everyone else knows. That's the big picture.
But also knowing what you don't know from what you know.
Yeah, that's a big one too. That boils down to openness to experience, I think.
That's another thing that kind of interests me. It's like knowing what you don't know.
Yeah.
How do you even get to that point? Like sometimes like I'll do something.
It's the ego. Ego likes to feed itself pleasure and like it likes to inflate itself. Just don't fall into ego traps and stuff. It's once you do like a good hit of acid, you'll pretty much get through that.
I'll sort of like break out of that sense of like, I know this.
Because how acid works is it's how I see it is it's bringing you close to spiritual fulfillment. And like going back to the pyramid of needs, when you're at spiritual fulfillment, your ego dissolves because the ego is a tool for survival. It's a tool to get all the other needs that you need besides spiritual fulfillment, I think.
The ego is like a fake foundation.
Yeah, it's like a fake foundation. Yeah, that's perfect.
And it's like,
but you need it. You do need it to survive.
So my brain is trying to like connect this to like the concept of society as a whole as being like the creator of ego.
Yeah.
And like we sort of, when we enter into society and we acknowledge like the existence of other people, we sort of create our self-perception to help us, handle other people. Right? So like once you sort of, or that crutch is to help us survive that world.
Yeah.
Because the world is people.
Yeah, that's the main ego trap, I think, in today's society, because we're not hunter-gatherers anymore. No one is. Well, I mean, some people experience trauma and things like that and become primal, but we're not primal anymore. Our biggest ego traps is dealing with other egos, which is very, very strange.
Mm-hmm.
Other than like a fucking like mountainside collapsing on you, like, we still obviously dealt with other egos with tribalism and stuff like that. We've been doing that for forever, but
Right.
now it's like almost purely boiled down to that, and it's a lot more tricky because you have to have an understanding. You don't have to, but it most people want an understanding of the other person's ego before they can dissolve their own. It's like I don't know. It's just like it's like a Cold War meme.
That's so
I don't know.
weird.
It's like a pissing contest. Yeah.
Like needing to figure out somebody else's maybe that like helps you. Maybe it helps you like integrate, right?
Yeah.
To like the natural state. Once you can like relate the other person to yourself,
Yeah,
you
that's
can like.
that's a big thing. That's why I love like talking to people so much and getting like just feeling what it. If I can feel like a little sense of what it's like to be them, I can learn so much and feel more in touch with everything, and because you are everything and you are you.
And it's like a reminder
Yeah.
that you're connected to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's another great reason to engage with people who are very, very different from you and very,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
you know, who you really, really don't like, because finding yourself in that person is like the ultimate challenge in connecting yourself to the bigger picture.
Yeah, yeah. One of the ultimate challenges.
Or one of them, yes.
Yeah, I don't think there really is such thing as an ultimate challenge. I'm not. I haven't been in that. I don't know. It's like that's something for God to think about. Like when he's when he's doing his thing. What the ultimate challenge is? Don't let my fucking brain.
We can't
run on that.
actually know what the ultimate challenge is, but like
My OCD
metaphorically.
just went crazy when you said that. I was like,
Right.
fuck, I need to complete it.
I defined I threw a cat in a tree and asked you basically to just go and save it.
Don't fuck me like that.
Just catapulted it into the
Stop.
highest redwood in the
Stop.
forest.
Let me make the bars. I was kidding.
Well, you're already making the bars.
I was kidding.
You know what I mean?
Don't let me do anything. Let me do everything. I love you.
Okay, I got you. I got you. I was making a pun because you.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to be retarded.
Okay.
All right. Where were we?
We were talking about like the ego and like relating to others and how that like dissolves the ego.
Yeah. That's one of the daily practices you can incorporate to get the pyramid built. Yeah. You should do that.
I think there's something else there, and that's like discomfort. Like
yeah, going with the discomfort is I that one I haven't worked out with. Like my attitude right now, I haven't like found a fundamental truth to that. Like I haven't found my peace with pain. My attitude is too extreme. I think I want to feel all the pain and I don't know, just like it's always a blessing to me. Like for productivity in general, at least that's my mindset right now. But I don't know. Like, should I be running away from more pain? I always just feel it whenever
I
it's
mean,
weird.
I think what might be the right answer, well, not that there's a right answer or a wrong answer, but like, I would say try to like pull yourself towards pain avoidance, maybe. Like, you know, recognize when you're getting too sadistic.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I
or
don't feel-
when you think you're too sadistic.
Well,
and then
when I get
pull yourself back.
sadistic, it's
Or not
it's
sadistic,
from alienation, not
It's
from pain.
masochistic.
Oh yeah,
My bad.
masochistic. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's only from a specific type of pain that I get sadistic, but yeah, masochism comes a lot. It's weird because it's a positive thing for me too. I like I like it for sex and that. Um, so yeah, it's something to meditate on, something to trip on, something to smoke some weed on, grow on.
Right.
Yeah. I don't really
Like,
have any. What's that?
I was just thinking about this a little bit, and I was like, what if this, like, masochism, like, you channeled it, because maybe it's not, well, of course, like, maybe it's not, like, all terrible, right?
It isn't. It isn't. It's everything.
You can channel that into, like, discipline,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
That's pretty cool to think about.
Yeah. This is the mindset that evolves you. This is what you're about to experience with psychedelics. I hope you're excited.
I am.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. You're doing your first trip tomorrow?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Yeah. Come over and do it. It'll be fucking magical.
I mean, I've been waiting so long for this.
Yeah.
Like,
Talk about that.
So my first sort of, I guess, intro to psychedelics was with, like, the psilocybin community and, like, learning about the, like, how magic mushrooms sort of, like, really give you this bigger perspective. I learned this on Joe Rogan. He talked, Paul Stalmetz.
Yeah.
He cited this statistic. It's an insane statistic with, like, huge sample size, like 300,000 or 200,000 prison inmates were, like, 17% nicer after magic mushrooms. Like,
Damn.
incredible
I don't know how
sample
you'd
size.
measure niceness for that. I mean,
Yeah.
it sounds about damn right. Yeah.
Probably like they probably have, like, some kind of psychological assessment.
That's why don't be afraid to like truly plunge into it, because, like, not saying take a monstrous dose. You're only taking like 100 UG, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when what you do get out of it, plunge into it. Like, really, because have faith in yourself is what I'm trying to say. Have faith that you will come out the other end
Right.
either a better version of you, or as good as the version before, because you are you.
What's funny about this is that recently, when I've been playing video games, I jump straight into the hardest difficulty, or, like, on the harder difficulties.
Good.
Like,
You have the right attitude.
right. And Doom I played hurt me plenty. I didn't
But
come in the Ultra
don't
Nightmare.
lose sight of
but-
the fundamentals, though.
Right. You gotta make sure that you're grounded, of course.
Yeah, yes, stay grounded.
And you gotta make sure that you're not forgetting the basics, because like you can get way too far into it.
Build it from the
and
ground up. Yeah.
build it from the ground up. But anyways, back to my journey. since we did sort of, like, detour from that, then I learned about ayahuasca and I heard about the healing powers of that. Failed to,
We should do
build up the money.
ayahuasca together.
I would love to. I would absolutely love to, but I cannot build enough money. Well,
We'll make some. It'll be
Yeah.
fun. I'll pay for your trip. Maybe.
all right. I might be getting a pretty good job soon, so
Oh, word. Okay.
I'll be building up to that. And it might be hard to get out of the country or even the state with
No,
this whole.
you can make it with shit on the internet. That's legal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know the sites. I was just, like, thinking about, what about going to the Amazon and being with the shamans and doing all that shit.
doing it right. Quote
Yeah.
unquote. Yeah, I can't speak on that because I've never been, but fuck, do I want to?
It's a lot of money, but it
Yeah.
could be interesting,
Yeah.
especially with the new
Oh,
environment
it's
and, like, all the
definitely fucking
nature.
interesting. Yeah. Oh,
Like-
fuck. Yeah, that's one of my fucking dreams for sure.
Honestly, sounds like an adventure. It's like $3,000.
Yeah.
Or, like,
so worth it though.
maybe like 5,000 once you factor in, like, all of the travel expenses.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Absolutely worth it. Like, I think it was Rhythmia. That's like 3 weeks or so for like $2,000, and it's like, wow. Imagine how much how much you can get out of that. Like, how much like of an experience you can experience
for a couple of $1,000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely worth it.
I mean, I think this shit should be free.
I agree, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
If only the world was a better place.
Yeah, my brain is so fried right now. I've been writing poetry all day. I don't know what the next topic should be.
Actually, we had a pretty good segue. Like the legality of psychedelics, the evolution of culture. That could be an interesting subject we can talk about.
I am not well read on that at all. I'm mainly just focused on what's inside my own self.
Like, how can we evolve as a culture through psychedelics? But I've just basically been intuitively guessing a good amount. Like, other than the few numbers I've cited, I've basically just been going off the cuff, really, and just sort of speaking from, my experience and my soul, basically.
I hate not saying shit that I don't feel, like, you know what I mean?
All the way.
Yeah, like, just like, it's just a thing for me. I don't know. And yeah, that's why I have to repeat shit in my head so much until it's right, so I can say it.
So you absolutely know, like, okay, is this right or is this not right?
I just have this I have this stress of doing the wrong thing all the time. It's OCD. But
I kind of see, like, a connection between you and me there, right?
Yeah.
Like worrying about being wrong or worrying about doing the wrong thing, and like being overly conscious about your actions.
Yeah.
But because I'll go with that. So like a lot of the times when I walk out of my room, like my mom sees me as like disabled. She thinks I'm like fucking retarded or whatever.
Does she?
Yeah. She like thinks autism, and like I think that's like how she thinks. It's just like autism, and then I have to tell this dumbass kid what to do all the time.
Yeah.
So like when I step out of my room and like actually go to the kitchen to do stuff, she's like I'm always worried that she's gonna comment on something or like try to boss me around or say like, oh, here's this obvious thing that you actually know, and I get self-conscious and then I make mistakes on that.
Yeah, and then you actually become what they're making you. That's falling into the narcissist trap. I call it narcissist trap.
It's not the same as...
It's not diagnosing mom as a narcissist, but she's exhibiting narcissistic traits at that point. But yeah, that's some shit I can talk about too. But going back to what you said, the best mantra for that I've found is you are not responsible for another's dysfunction.
Right.
You can never be. All you can do with that dysfunction is basically learn what to not do, or just evolve in any way you possibly can. That's how what I found works for those situations.
You see, my brain was saying like two things when I approached the situation in my head. It was like, you can either like continue to live this way until you can get out of here, or you can try to approach her about the situation. And honestly, you should probably approach her about the situation.
Yeah, talk to her. I mean, just show her that you and her are the same. I don't know. Like, show her the love. Like, show her. That would be my advice because she's your mom. But yeah, try to understand her and really think on why she thinks that, and you could probably convince her to not be a dick to you. Yeah,
to not like think I'm like retarded or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I need to like communicate with her essentially.
Yeah, definitely communication. Studying DBT skills is very helpful also for this. That's dialectical behavioral therapy. But dialectical thinking is basically the idea that no one owns the truth. There are multiple versions of the truth.
Multiple perspectives.
Yeah,
yeah.
And so like, I am working hard, but I need to be working harder, and I might get fired. And now, like, someone with narcissistic personality disorder, for example,
might be like,
can only see I'm working hard.
So there are many perspectives from which you can view the same sort of thing, and because of that, there isn't really like one whole like truth.
Yeah, for sure. Studying personality pathology is so helpful for understanding people, and it fucking makes my OCD nut. Like patterns with personality pathology, that has to be another podcast. We gotta do that.
That honestly sounds really fascinating.
I need to
do
read up on
research.
that first, so I know all my definitions.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just really focus on why. Keep going into why. Go Socratically. Go deep, and really get to it, and then you can build it up like a pyramid.
Like the like build up Socratically the thoughts on
Destroy, break it down to its fundamental shit. It's
Right.
probably ego. She probably is along the lines of mindset is along the lines of something like I need my son to be normal so they can. Sorry, I said son. That's
child.
Yeah.
She's probably
she
thinking.
would say son.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. But that's not cool with me. That my child needs to function like I do, so they can be as successful as I am.
Right. They're sort of like projecting.
Yeah.
Their own concept of competence.
From all of my life experience, that's what it sounds like.
She's projecting her own confidence, or her own idea of competence on.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me.
One of my perspectives, because I really like to engage with like Myers-Briggs, as much of a bad rap as it gets. I feel like and while it's not like an objective sort of like, or not an empirical theory, like I definitely sense some of the ideas and patterns like in the real world. So it's more, how do I say, it's not empirically proven, but I've noticed it, essentially. It's anecdotally true for me.
Right. Yeah, we've loved anecdotes on this podcast.
Hell yeah. Then this is definitely my kind of podcast. So yeah, I think she's an ES or an EXTJ. What that means is she has extroverted thinking as her first function, and extroverted functions or extroverted deciding functions like thinking, extroverted thinking are designed to be like sort of like fast acting, right? And they want to find out effective, exactly.
Yeah, efficient.
They want to know what works, and they try to like they don't mind thinking for others as long as it gets to a solution.
Yeah.
And with her being an ETJ, to my understanding, she's trying to like apply this to me.
Yeah, I think
really,
that goes back to the pyramid analogy once again. It's solution based instead of process based. You need to things should be built up from the ground.
Right.
Yeah. Things should have a proper foundation, and that's how it makes sense. That's how it all
like
cohesively.
That's how you actually move with this idea, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's how you do it. How? I mean, that's how I like it.
Interestingly enough, there's a function that sort of is the opposite polarity of extroverted thinking is introverted thinking.
Yeah.
Which actually works like that.
That's what I was going into.
An internal logical structure that's sort of like built upon what like is true and how things interact to make things true. Like it wants to understand the root causes and the whys, and it wants to build the pyramids it wants to stack the logic because it has all the time. The mindset of introverted functions is that they have all the time in the world to figure out whatever, sort of idea there is behind it. So like introverted thinking, it's all the time in the world to build the logic.
And extroverted is solely the solution.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Perfect.
And the ideal, I think, is the non-duality. Like once again, the blending, and
the extroverted
balance,
and
the holy balance. Yeah.
Right.
Divine shit, my man.
Like you need to be fast acting and use extroverted thinking, and sometimes, but
I would
there
say
are other
you
times
need
where
to be using A mixture of both at all times.
A mixture of both.
Whenever your brain is going to that non-dialectical thinking, just mixture of both. Repeat that mantra.
Mixture of both. Because, like, we all use the cognitive functions. Like, usually... this is kind of like a sort of dualistic way of putting this, so I apologize in advance.
Yeah.
But typically we fall into one of the 16 types. Like on some... We are, in some way, one of the 16 types. Like, more... like, because we all do... We all... Hold on. Sorry. We are a type, and we do, like, experience all the problems and, like, all of the things related to the other types. We experience, like, usages of all of the functions. However, the general pattern for most of us is that we tend to be maybe more of one, more of the other, right? Maybe we're more red and less blue, rather than just, like, all red. But it's fairly... it works to maybe define ourselves
it's
more as, like,
but it works,
more red. And, like, that's sort of how I perceive MBTI, or as I'm trying to, like, work it out in, like, a non-dualistic perspective.
Yeah.
To, like, yeah, you need to understand, like, how conscious your functions are generally, and you need to learn how to, like, balance the usage of those functions, right? Because each type has 4 functions. You have your hero function, which you use... In fact, this is actually a great non-dualistic segue.
Yeah.
You have a hero function, and you also have, or a savior function, but you also have, like, a demon function. And
I have a lot of the demon one, I can promise you.
The demon function is just, like, the opposite of your hero function. The hero
Yeah.
function is the one you use all the time, and the demon function is the one that you have a lot of trouble dealing with. So, like,
okay.
for me...
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. So, like, you're using so much of one that you're not actually using the other at all.
Yeah.
And you're ignoring it, and it's, like, building up in your unconscious.
It festers and perverts into something disgusting.
Yep, it sure does.
That brings us back to what we were talking about in the beginning, serial killers and incels and alienation.
You've alienated this part of your personality, and, it's sort of like committed a mass shooting on your psyche.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that.
Wow, I love how you wrapped it up back to the beginning. That was great.
Everything's a fucking pyramid, dude.
It's all the pyramid.
All the pyramid. Alright, well, that's honestly a great place to end because we're at 40 minutes.
We're at 40 minutes?
Yeah, we've been
Holy
talking
shit.
for 40
I
minutes.
had no idea.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. You can check me out. I'll probably be in the comments as Snake Oil Mastermind. If you have any questions about MBTI.
What's your name, first name?
Keyshawn, but I'm actually thinking about changing my name.
Yeah, change it.
Like,
What do you want it to
legally.
Be? Yeah, what do you want it to be?
I'm sort of deliberating on that. Somewhere
Okay.
between, like, Quinn, Morgana, Belle, Emmeline.
Alright, Quinn, Morgana, Belle, Emmeline will be in the comments.
Yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed.
Snake Oil Mastermind.
Also, annoy me in the comments about MBTI. I love that shit.
Yeah. Everyone, I love you. Be kind to yourself.
True.
Accomplish something today.
True.
Alright, goodbye.
Peace.